Food delivery is a modern convenience we rarely question until something goes wrong. Tonight, we're diving into 3 real stories from drivers and customers whose routine orders turned into unforgettable nightmares. These tales remind us that the most chilling moments can happen in the most ordinary settings. So, turn down the lights, lock your doors, and get ready. Let's begin. Marco, a night shift delivery driver, found a certain peace in the solitude of the city after dark. He loved the quiet city streets, a stark contrast to the daytime chaos. The hum of his engine, the glow of streetlights, and the occasional passing car were his companions. He felt like he had the city all to himself. It was a world where the normal rules seemed to bend, where shadows danced and secrets whispered in the wind. But that sense of tranquility was shattered one night, when one order changed everything. It was a seemingly ordinary request, a pizza and soda to be delivered to an address on the outskirts of town. Little did Marco know, this delivery would turn into a chilling encounter that would forever alter his perception of those quiet, empty streets. Around 1:30 a.m., the dispatch sent him to a remote, unfamiliar neighborhood. It was a place he'd never been before, a labyrinth of winding roads and dimly lit houses. The GPS struggled to pinpoint the exact location, adding to his growing unease. The houses were spaced far apart, each shrouded in darkness, creating an atmosphere of isolation and mystery. As he drove deeper into the neighborhood, he noticed headlights in his rearview mirror. At first, he dismissed it as another late-night traveler, but something felt off. The lights remained at the same distance, never passing, never turning away. They were a constant presence, a silent observer in the darkness. A prickle of unease ran down his spine as he began to suspect he was being followed. The car followed him through winding, empty roads, matching his every move. Each turn he made, the car mirrored perfectly. He tried changing his speed, slowing down, speeding up, but the other car adjusted accordingly, maintaining the same unnerving distance. It was as if the driver was playing a game, a silent, sinister game of cat and mouse. Anxiety grew as he realized this wasn't a coincidence. This was deliberate, intentional. Someone was following him, and he had no idea why. His heart pounded in his chest, his palms grew sweaty, and his mind raced to make sense of the situation. Was it a mistake? Had he unknowingly angered someone? Or was it something far more sinister? Finally, he turned onto a cul-de-sac, the location of his delivery. He hoped that stopping would deter the follower, but the other car simply stopped at the entrance, headlights fixed on him, unmoving. It was a clear message. They weren't going anywhere. Marco felt trapped, like a fly caught in a spider's web. The house he was delivering to was dark, the porch light off, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Every instinct screamed at him to turn around and leave, but he couldn't abandon his job. Marco hesitated, caught between fear and duty, but work was work. He had a delivery to make and he couldn't afford to lose his job. He grabbed the pizza and soda from the passenger seat, his nerves on edge. Every sound felt threatening, the rustling of leaves, the creak of the car door, the distant hoot of an owl. He felt exposed, vulnerable, like he was being watched from every shadow. He imagined eyes peering at him from the darkness, waiting for him to make a mistake. He left the food on the porch, snapped a photo as proof of delivery, and quickly texted the customer, all while feeling the weight of those headlights boring into his back. He tried to be quick, efficient, but every second felt like an eternity. He imagined the driver of the other car watching his every move, analyzing his every action. As he rushed back to his car, the other vehicle remained, silent and menacing, a predator patiently waiting for its prey. He fumbled with his keys, his hands shaking, desperate to get back inside the safety of his vehicle. The distance between the porch and his car felt like a mile, each step filled with dread. Marco started his engine, reversed out of the driveway, and sped toward the car blocking the entrance to the cul-de-sac, desperate to see who was inside and confront his tormentor. He floored the accelerator, adrenaline coursing through his veins, ready to face whatever awaited him. He wanted answers. He wanted to know why he was being targeted. Suddenly, just as he was about to reach the other car, the headlights switched off, plunging the street into complete darkness. In the darkness, the car vanished. No taillights, no engine noise, nothing. It was as if it had simply disappeared into thin air, leaving Marco alone and bewildered. He searched the street, scanning the shadows, but it was empty. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the sound of his own ragged breathing. He couldn't believe it. The car was just there, and now it was gone. It was like a ghost, a phantom that had vanished without a trace. Marco finished his shift in a state of constant fear, checking his mirrors every few seconds, expecting those headlights to return at any moment. He never delivered to that neighborhood again, and he avoided late-night shifts whenever possible. The experience had shaken him to his core, leaving him with a lingering sense of paranoia. To this day, he doesn't know who was following him or why. Was it a prank gone wrong? A case of mistaken identity? A potential robbery? Or something far worse? The unanswered questions continue to haunt him, replaying in his mind like a broken record. He's left to wonder about the motives of his pursuer, forever trapped in a state of uncertainty. Sometimes, the scariest part isn't what happens, but what could have happened. The unknown is often more terrifying than the known, the possibilities more frightening than the reality. Marco is left to grapple with the potential dangers he faced that night, the what-ifs that continue to plague his thoughts. Marco still wonders, if the road hadn't ended, if he hadn't reached the cul-de-sac, would the car have kept following him into the darkness, deeper and deeper into the unknown? The memory of those unwavering headlights, those relentless eyes in the night, is a fear he can't shake, a constant reminder of the vulnerability he felt that night. For Marco, the night is never truly empty. Every late delivery is a reminder that you never know who's out there, lurking in the shadows, watching your every move. He's become hyper-aware of his surroundings, constantly scanning for potential threats, forever haunted by the memory of those headlights. And sometimes, despite your best efforts, you never find out the truth. The mystery remains unsolved, the questions unanswered, leaving you forever in the dark. The Midnight Stalker remains a faceless enigma, a chilling reminder that some secrets are best left buried. Chloe, a college student juggling classes and bills, took a late-night order through her food delivery app. It was a slow night, and she was hoping to make a few more deliveries before heading home to study. The order was unusual, a single pint of ice cream. Even more unusual was the delivery address, a crumbling Victorian house on the very edge of town, a place locals whispered about, a place that seemed to have been forgotten by time itself. The fog was thick that night, clinging to everything like a damp shroud. As Chloe drove down the long, winding road leading to the house, the air grew colder, and an unsettling feeling crept over her. The house looked abandoned, its windows dark and empty, but the address matched the one on her phone. Hesitantly, she approached the house, her footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. As she got closer, she began to hear unsettling noises coming from inside, a low, rhythmic creaking, like something heavy being dragged across the floor, furniture scraping, as if someone were rearranging the rooms in the dead of night. And then, faint whispers, too indistinct to understand, but close enough to send shivers down her spine. Just as she was about to knock, a pale hand with dirty fingernails reached out from the darkness of the doorway. It was skeletal and gaunt, a stark contrast to the darkness behind it. The hand snatched the bag containing the ice cream, then vanished back into the shadows as quickly as it appeared. Chloe waited for payment, her heart pounding in her chest, but instead of the sound of money, she only heard frantic spoon scraping from inside, a desperate, ravenous sound that made her skin crawl. Growing increasingly uneasy and filled with a sense of dread, she cautiously pushed the door open, peering into the abyss. The foyer was completely empty, covered in a thick layer of dust that suggested the house hadn't been inhabited in years. No sign of anyone, living or otherwise. The ice cream container and spoon lay discarded on the floor, scraped clean with an almost disturbing intensity. There were no footprints in the dust but her own, leading from the door to the ice cream container and back again. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked upstairs, a distinct and deliberate sound that shattered the silence. Chloe froze, every nerve in her body on high alert, realizing with chilling certainty that she wasn't alone in the house. Something else was there. The bare porch light flickered erratically, casting long, dancing shadows across the walls, before finally giving out, plunging everything into complete and utter darkness. Panic took over, overriding any rational thought. She sprinted back to her car, fumbling with the keys, finally managing to unlock the doors. She jumped inside, locked them, and sped away, not daring to look back. But as she glanced in her rearview mirror, she glimpsed a pale face in an upstairs window, watching her, its features indistinct in the darkness. Then, it was gone in a blink, leaving her questioning what she had actually seen. Shaken to her core, Chloe reported the incident to the delivery company, but they dismissed it as an unpaid order and a possible prank. Disgusted and terrified, she quit the next day, unable to shake the haunting memory of that house and the vanishing customer. The image of that pale face was forever burned into her mind. Was it a squatter, a ghost, or something else entirely? Something far more sinister. She'll never know for sure. The $10 she lost on the ice cream was nothing compared to the sheer terror she felt that night. Chloe's rule now is simple. Never, ever deliver to a house that looks like it belongs on a horror movie set. Some places are better left undisturbed, their secrets left to rot in the darkness, and some customers, especially those lurking in the shadows of forgotten houses, are better left unseen, their cravings unanswered. For Chloe, that night was a harsh but valuable lesson in trusting her instincts and knowing when to turn away. Sometimes the scariest thing is not knowing who or what answered the door, and what dark desires lie hidden behind a pale hand reaching out from the darkness. Alex, a seasoned delivery driver, thought he'd seen it all. He'd navigated countless late-night streets, dealt with every kind of customer imaginable, and thought he was immune to the oddities of the job. He considered himself a professional, unfazed by the unusual requests and strange locations that came with the territory. He'd faced barking dogs, confusing apartment layouts, and even the occasional overly friendly resident. That was until he encountered apartment 3B. It started innocently enough with a simple leave-at-door order for Chinese food. Nothing out of the ordinary, just another faceless transaction in the dead of night. He placed the warm bag on the mat, snapped a quick photo for confirmation, and moved on to the next delivery, not giving it a second thought. Then it happened again, and again. The same apartment number, the same request, the same feeling of unease creeping into his mind. It was becoming a regular stop on his nightly route, a recurring blip in the endless stream of deliveries. Always late at night, always the same instructions. Leave at door, do not knock. The consistency was unsettling, a rigid pattern that defied the randomness of the job. The hallway itself seemed to amplify the strangeness, the flickering lights casting long, dancing shadows that played tricks on his eyes. The hallway outside 3B was always silent, an unnatural quiet that pressed in on him. The peephole was blacked out, offering no glimpse into the apartment's interior, only a void that seemed to stare back. No sounds, no signs of life emanated from within, no music, no television, no muffled conversations, just an unsettling emptiness that hung in the air. It was as if the apartment was a vacuum, sucking all sound and energy into its silent depths. Each delivery, Alex felt watched, scrutinized by unseen eyes. The air was heavy, thick with an unspoken tension. The silence was charged, pregnant with an unknown presence. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being observed, that someone was lurking just beyond his field of vision. He tried knocking just once, a tentative rap on the door, hoping for some acknowledgement. But there was no answer, only the echo of his knuckles against the unyielding wood. He waited in the stairwell, hidden in the shadows, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive customer. He told himself it was just curiosity, a harmless desire to put a face to the address. The food would vanish within minutes, disappearing as if by magic, but he never saw anyone claim it. It was as if the apartment itself was consuming the deliveries, swallowing them whole without a trace. The routine became a psychological trap, a self-perpetuating cycle of dread and anticipation. He dreaded seeing the address pop up on his delivery app, a digital omen of the night to come, but he couldn't bring himself to refuse the orders. The mystery had become an obsession, a dark curiosity that he couldn't resist. One night, driven by a desperate need for answers, he left a note, tucked under the edge of the food bag. "Hope everything is okay." The orders stopped abruptly, vanishing from his queue as if they had never existed. The silence from apartment 3B stretched on for 2 weeks. Relief washed over him, a wave of calm after weeks of mounting anxiety. He allowed himself to believe that the strange episode was over, that he had finally broken the cycle, until the address reappeared, mocking him from the screen of his phone. This time, a note waited for him, not on top of the food, but hidden beneath the doormat, as if it had been lying in wait for his return. Scrawled in messy, uneven letters, the note contained only 3 words: "I see you." Alex panicked, his heart pounding in his chest. He dropped his phone, the screen shattering against the hard floor, and ran blindly, desperate to escape the unseen gaze. He begged the delivery service to block the address, to remove it from his delivery zone forever. To his relief, they complied. He never returned to that building, never ventured down that hallway again. But the experience irrevocably changed him, leaving a permanent scar on his psyche. Now every silent hallway, every dimly lit corridor, every leave-at-door instruction feels ominous, a potential echo of that terrifying experience. He can't shake the feeling that he's being watched, that the unseen watcher could be anywhere. He never learned who lived in 3B, what secrets were hidden behind that blacked-out peephole, and he doesn't want to. The unseen watcher, the faceless entity, turned a routine job into a month-long nightmare, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of everyday life. Sometimes the scariest threats are the ones you never see, the ones that exist only in the shadows of your mind. For Alex, the fear wasn't in what happened, but in what could have happened, in the endless possibilities of the unknown. The note, those 3 simple words, confirmed his worst suspicion. He was never alone. Someone, something was always watching, always aware of his presence. In the world of late-night deliveries, you never truly know who's on the other side of the door, what lurks behind the facade of normalcy. And sometimes, in the face of the unknown, it's better to remain in the dark, to let the mysteries lie undisturbed. That's our final delivery for tonight. These stories show how a simple job can turn into a chilling ordeal. If you've had a creepy delivery experience, share it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life horror stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep your doors locked.